Unconscious bias goes deep. So as a cultural anthropologist and a bit of a cognitive psychologist, I've studied this a lot. Unconscious bias goes really deep, and I go back to young children. Put yourself in the tiny little shoes of a young child, right? 1, 2, 3 years old. As they're developing, their brains are amazing. From 0 to 3, their brains are developing 2 million synaptic connections per second. Right? Their brains are literally being built from all the information in their cultural context. So you have children who are developing pretty typically. They learn language at a particular time, they learn physical, motor skills at a particular time, and one thing their brains want to do is figure out the social cultural world they're going to inhabit. So they don't even realize they're doing it. So you have a young child sitting there, an adult, maybe you got a little boy and his mom is talking on the phone. The little boy's playing with Legos and the mom says, "Yeah, I can't believe he's gonna have a black preschool teacher next year." You think the kid's not even paying attention. And all of a sudden that kid learned a ton about the world. They learned, every other time my mom said the word teacher, it didn't have a color in front of it. So there's something about that category of people. I gotta figure out what that is. Their brains are doing that. It forms a little cognitive placeholder. Ding, ding. Right? They learned that it's marked. So it's a different kind of category than just a teacher. So there's something unusual about it. I really gotta figure out what that is. And they learned my mom is worried about it or excited about it. Something. She's feeling some kind of thing about it. And so I really got to figure out what that is, right? Their brains are doing all of that without them even realizing it. Then you have the adults, not all adults, but a lot of adults who will not engage their children in these conversations. So what they tell children is, everyone's equal, everyone's the same, right? I don't want to talk about that. And so their brains are trying to figure it out. Adults are saying, I'm not talking about that with you. And so they learn it from all the other subtle places in a culture. They learn it from what's on TV being represented, what's in the news being represented. When I lock my car door going by certain neighborhoods or certain people. When I grip my child's hand tighter going by certain people or certain places. What adults are saying to other adults they're picking up on when maybe you're not being as careful as you would be if you were talking just to your child. And so they get all these ideas that people are not valued equally because that's there in the culture. And yet explicitly they're told, we're all the same, right? Explicit, we're all the same. Implicit, their brains realize, no, we're not. And so that's why it's unconscious, right? Because if you ask those people hiring, they'll say, yeah, I'm treating everyone the same, because they know that's the right thing to think. But under the surface, unconsciously, they've got different ideas about people's potential, their characteristics, right? Whether maybe even good and bad, valence. So it's very complicated. It goes very deep. And we have all these other cognitive predispositions making it so like if we start to think that, then everything we see confirms that. So by the time we're adults in an organization making decisions, we've got those unconscious biases pretty firmly rooted and we didn't even realize it. And everyone's got them in some way or another, right? And it's not just about race that people have them, but about gender, sexuality, religion, right? With all the different dimensions of diversity, people may have these unconscious or sometimes what are called implicit biases.